Hello, 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 and welcome to Friendly Differences 2.0. I am Solid Blue Sister, and today on April the 12th, 2025, we're going to talk about Donald Trump. All right. So, you know, I really don't like talking about him. I don't even like looking at him. I mean, when he comes on TV, I have to mute, change the channel because I literally cannot stand looking at his face. I really, really can't. But Donald Trump is going too far. And I really have to say that the people who voted for him, I said in one of my TikToks, you make me sick. So this is what Trump is trying to do. And I really don't understand why slavery in this country, which is a very big part of this country, America, a huge part of America, why it's so uncomfortable for some people to talk about and why it threatens them. So what Donald Trump wants to do is he wants to remove the slave history. He wants to erase it from the African American Museum of History, which is on the Smithsonian Mall in Washington, D.C. Now, if anyone has been there, first of all, it's an amazing place, and I, encourage everyone to go. But in the basement, in the lower level, there is a very comprehensive timeline or walkthrough. And it's heartbreaking. Some of it is difficult to see, but it is the history of Black people in this country. It is part of the history of this country, and it's part of who we are as Americans. So I look at it like this: if you want to erase the history of, how do I want to say this? If you want to erase the history of slavery in America, you have to erase everything. You can't talk about Thomas Jefferson. You can't talk about George Washington. You can't talk about Benjamin Franklin. You can't talk about the South. You can't talk about how cotton was king, how tobacco fields flourish, how plantations that produce sugar became wealthy. Because you can't talk about any of those things without talking about slavery. Slaves were not servants. They weren't even indentured slaves. They were slaves until the day they died, unless their massa freed them. And even then, they were still slaves because they had to carry their freedom papers. So I say to you, how dare Donald Trump, how dare he want to go into the African American Museum of Natural History and erase that and remove it. And we definitely don't want any of Trump's people to remove it because it would be destroyed. But one thing that you cannot do, you may be able to take things away and destroy them for the public. We still know. Emmett Till is never going to go away. You can try to erase the stories and all this other stuff, but you're not going to erase the fact that people like Emmett Till and Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth and millions of other slaves, millions of other Black people, you're not going to erase the fact that they existed. So I just don't understand why Donald Trump and people in this country, some of them, not all, are threatened by slavery and why they're so uncomfortable. Hello, Thomas. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Solid Blue. How the hell are you? I am talking from my car because my granddaughter is asleep and I just locked myself in my own truck. Wow.
I have done that before. I have done that. In fact, I do that a lot.
No keys at all. So we're talking about Donald Trump's continued erasure of anything that's more melanated than him. Yes?
Yeah. But you know what? But let me bring this up just so everyone can kind of hold on here. Wait, hold on. Let me get George on here first. Hey, George.
Oh shit!
Hey,
George is in the house.
Okay.
George, this is gonna be one of them uncomfortable. George, this is gonna be one of them uncomfortable shows, buddy.
Yes, I understand that because you're on.
No,
it's always an uncomfortable show when you're on.
You're the only white person on this panel. I'm just saying. Yeah, it's gonna be some slow singing, flower bringing, buddy.
Just want to make sure I have the right thing up here.
I'm just gonna sit down, shut up, and just take it all in.
And
not be judgmental. No, I'm like,
listen,
okay.
Man, I'm just trying to tell you.
I am going to. All right. If anyone has not been to this incredible place, you have got to go. It is the second most visited place on the National Mall. Trump is stirring nationwide outrage as reports emerge that his administration is attempting to remove or reduce slavery-related content from the National Museum of African American History and Culture. The museum, a centerpiece of Black historical preservation located on the National Mall, has drawn millions of visitors since opening in 2016. It was championed under President Barack Obama and highlights centuries of African American history from slavery and segregation to civil rights and contemporary culture. Now, but under Trump's second term, sources say key exhibits detailing horrors of slavery may be altered or removed altogether. The effort is reportedly part of a larger rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, across federal agencies, including historical institutions. The museum's powerful lower-level exhibits guide visitors through 250 years of American slavery, followed by Jim Crow laws, the Civil Rights Movement, and major historical milestones like the Montgomery bus boycott. According to sources within the Smithsonian reported by April Ryan, who we all know that Donald Trump cannot stand, officials are quietly working to rally bipartisan support in hopes of preserving the museum's integrity. The urgency intensified last week when museum director Kevin Young unexpectedly stepped down. Now, I'm going to stop there, and I have a question.
I might have an answer.
One of Trump's reasoning was he said that he wanted to erase the shame of America. But before you guys came on, I was just saying that that America, what do I want to say? America is tied up into slavery, into the what happened with the Japanese. America with Native Americans. There's so much shame in this country, as well as good things. But
I'm sorry, no, they're not. They're listen. Let's be honest, Solid Blue. The good things don't outweigh the bad.
no,
Because
they
yeah,
absolutely don't.
for
I'm just saying that,
every yeah, but for every ounce of good things that the United States has done, there's a pound of shit that they did that is just heinous. I've said this. I think I probably have coined this. So if you hear anybody else say it, it's mine, and I'll sue them. It is called atrocities and amnesia. America practices atrocities and amnesia, meaning they will do some heinous shit and then act as though the sands of time erase that heinous shit. You know, we can talk about how beautiful the streams and the mountains, and oh my God, America's majestic. But there was an entire genocide of Native Americans to get that majesty. You know, look at the wealth we built. America's one of the richest countries of all time, and there's slave blood on that money. I like to joke on the morning show that the reason Donald Trump acts the way he does is because he was not accepted by old money people, and by old money I mean old money. They got slavery bloody fingerprints, some native and indigenous feathers, and at least 5 or 6 bison skulls on that money. That money got cotton on it. That money got tobacco on it. That money got rice on it. It got beans.
yeah.
It got sugar cane. That money is old money. And they never accepted Trump because he doesn't come from that shit. But for Trump to say that we're trying to erase the shame of America, when the actual French fried, funky fresh, flip flop and flapjack and F did we ever acknowledge the shame in the first damn place? How you gonna erase something we ain't ever acknowledged? Who that? Hey, Solid Blue, I robbed your house, right? I robbed your house. But like 5 years from now, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna try to sell you the shit I stole from you. You gonna look at me and go, "Hey, you stole this from me," and I'm gonna go, "Hey, that's in the past. We gotta get. Why can't we forge a new future with me selling you the shit that I stole from you? How you erasing something we don't acknowledge in the first place? You want to erase something that they called CRT 6 years ago, they called DEI today, and before that, it was the backlash from a Negro having an audacity to sleep in the damn White House. America doesn't. How you going to erase something we don't even acknowledge happened in the first place? Who does? Where they do this at? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take over, but
Okay, no, but
that's a crock of shit, man.
Okay, but look, George, I have to bring into this conversation. I'm not going to let you be quiet. I'm not going to let you be quiet. Why do you think? And I'm being totally serious. Why do you think white people, and not just, well, I am going to say white people, not all, but some, are so comfortable and so afraid and so threatened by the word slavery?
I think it.
And I just started the radio.
Well, okay,
Yeah,
now
look at George over here fumbling.
No, I don't mean to put you on the spot because because I don't know. I don't understand why it's such a threat. Because if you don't talk about slavery in this country, you can't talk about Thomas Jefferson. You can't talk about George Washington. You can't talk about Benjamin Franklin. You can't talk. There's so many things that you cannot talk about.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Because slavery, I mean, it's part of this country. It's part of the history.
Yeah.
So why do you think? Because when I ask people, mainly Trump supporters, when I ask that question, they don't know what to say because I don't understand it. Why are you so threatened by the word slavery in America?
Why am I?
Not you, but I'm just, you know,
Not you
Why are
personally,
white
George.
people threatened?
yeah. Why would Donald Trump or a MAGA be threatened by the word slavery?
I,
And if you don't have an answer, that's fine too. I mean,
George doesn't have an
am
answer because he's not threatened by the word slavery.
I'm not threatened by the word slavery. No. I'm not. But I'm I'm part Italian and part Lebanese, but I was born in this country, so my ancestors go back to the village of Akkar in Lebanon. That's on my father's side. Salerno, Italy, on my mother's side. But slavery, in that time, in the time of the colonials, slavery was still there when we were when we had founded this country, or founded the beginnings of the Constitution. Okay, colonials had slaves. I'm sure they did. I'm like, why is it an uncomfortable thing now? It's just, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not really threatened by it. Not because I'm white, but because I'm, I joined this radio station because every voice matters, and every voice matters. Black, white, any, with anyway. Trump and MAGA, they're threatened by it because they want to be the, I mean, I would assume that they're white supremacists, so that they believe that the white person is the quintessential, like the dominant form of life on this planet. That's what they think. I don't think that way, because
so do you think
America, like America is the melting pot. That's what they don't understand. America is made up of different peoples with different religions, with different ideologies, but we all come together to help each other, hopefully.
It's supposed to be that way. It is
It's supposed
advertised
to
that
be that
way,
way.
but it has never been that way.
I understand that.
Okay. I will
Go ahead
I
and
will use it. I will use this as an example. I did a video yesterday where I literally asked people to indulge me for 10 minutes. Right. And I made a video where I talked about the worst thing that could have ever happened to white people was the arrival of Donald Trump. And vice versa. The worst thing that could have ever happened to Donald Trump was him running for president. Because the first part of the video that I made, there was a video from Nick Fuentes. And Nick Fuentes said that white people are tired of the conversations. They're tired of black people not wanting to have a conversation about race and things of that nature. Right now, we have a young man by the name of Carmelo Anthony who stabbed a young man named Austin Metcalf. And what we're seeing is that same nasty underpinning. That same nasty underpinning. America has never gotten the shit right. I'm sorry. I know that might hurt some people's feelings, but America's never got it right. We are never as advertised. That melting pot thing, advertisement. The idea of all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their creators to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Advertising. We ain't never lived up to them damn words. We have never lived up to those words because America cannot live up to it. America runs from its own F-ups. America always cheats. It's a loving relationship. You got a marriage. This marriage has been around for 200 and something odd years. America will take the shortcut before they take the long way around. America will lie to itself rather than tell itself the truth. And Donald Trump is the worst thing that could have happened to white people because he walked in giving up the game. Like this used to be some shit that we talked about, you know, it talked about in a black church and talked about in a white church. It was talked about in different places. It was quiet until you saw the effects of it. Donald Trump came out there and said, embrace it, bitches. Think about it. No resume to run for president. No policies, no idea what the hell he's doing. What did he tap into? What was the first thing out of his mouth? Mexicans are rapists and murderers. And that set the tone. He gave aid and comfort to that rock that we have been hiding all these racists.
He allowed people to say out loud what they have been thinking.
And by extension, because it's a symbiotic relationship, he gives them the power. They give him the power to be as nasty, as narcissistic, as thin-skinned as he wants to be. The worst thing that could have possibly happened to white people is that man getting elected. Because at this point, you have nothing, you can't hide. You cannot hide. The nasty nature of America is now not only front and center, but it stands behind the presidential podium. We had a white South African man do a Nazi salute behind the presidential seal. And not only were white people, not all white people, but not only were a large majority of white people not offended by it, they defended it and then they did it themselves. Donald Trump he literally upturned the entire game. Whatever lies we were telling ourselves and whatever, you know, things are going to get better and we've made No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
See, this is, you know, and I don't know if you listened to the show where the professor was on, where we were talking about why Black people don't protest. And, you know, I go back and forth because I see both sides of why we should and why we shouldn't. But at the same time, it's like, you know, I was out there November out there, you know, rooting for Harris and trying to get people to vote for Harris and blah, 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 blah. But it comes to the time when, you know, y'all need to figure stuff out because Black people did not destroy this country. You know, yes, we have bad people, you know, as Trump says, there's bad people on every side. Yeah, Black people, we do have people that murder and rape and steal. But we have white people that murder, rape and steal. We have Asians that, or, you know, Chinese people, Japanese people, whatever, Latinos that rape, murder, and steal. But for whatever reason, as our friend, you know, Terry said, white people have these values. You know, they have better values that we're supposed to live by. And I'm like, this is what we're supposed to live by? Because if you look at this country, if it weren't for people of color, this would be a very, very different country. And I don't think it would be one of the strongest in the world.
Because we think about this. Everybody loves the Second Amendment. We globalized it. We globalized the right to bear arms to the world. Can you imagine having a conversation with somebody knowing that they ass walk around with 2 shotguns and a pistol in their booty cheeks? You are not going to talk to that man the same way you're going to talk to him if he just came in. Hey, my hands are open. I want to have a dialogue. This some bitch come in, shotguns in his hand. Like, now what you want to talk about? Like, hey, buddy. That's way too much. That's too much. We are the kings of telling other countries, hey, Saudi Arabia, I heard y'all over there beheading people. Stop doing that. And then Saudi Arabia looks and goes, strange fruit, bitch. Strange fruit. Negroes in
I
trees
mean, but
and
even
shit.
okay, but even when you look at Strange Fruit, when Billie Holiday sang Strange Fruit, there were some places where she was not allowed to sing that song. Why? Because I mean, it's like this is what was happening, but you all can sing way down Dixie and black folks picking cotton, but we
Because the
can't,
rules,
but we can't
literal, yeah, rules do not apply to the large white majority. They don't. You want to know why those white folks who become accomplices stick out? For the same reason the Coonesians stick out amongst us. Because they're saying something that goes against society, goes against the norms of the people they come from. People like Officer Tatum and Candace Owens stick out because the rest of us sitting there going, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like, no, bitch, we not. No, sit down. Hi, I have a history degree. Sit down. Ain't nobody going over there. The reason white accomplices stand out is because they are now looking at it the way the way we look at it. They're going, "Hey, hold on. Why is it that we can go out and have a protest and no cops show up? But if there was 5 Negroes doing a doo-wop song on a corner, the SWAT team will come after their ass. I wonder why. It could possibly be because they're black. Again, and we practice atrocities and amnesia. We like to put bows. America loves putting bows on shit. They love it. We love the Japanese Americans. Bitch, do you remember locking them all up? Do you? And do you also remember not locking up the Germans or the Italians? Again, atrocities and amnesia. Slavery is that one they can't get past because we still walking around here going, "Hi, how you doing? How you doing? Mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, great grandma and great grandpa, products of slavery. We still here. You can't take us back. You ain't got no receipt." That's why they don't like one. That's why they don't want to have these conversations. Can you imagine living your life realizing that somewhere in your lineage, somebody who is related to you had sex with somebody who also is related to you, and before they did that, they went to a lynching? You got to live with that. Like, you literally got to live with that. And they can say it's so long ago because that was the first one. Oh, that was so long ago. You were never a slave. Then we started going, okay, you want to talk about the 100 years between 1865 and 1965? Now we start getting pictures of grandma. Oh, shit. Is that Grandma Ethel? Isn't she 5 years old? Isn't that a baking Negro? Didn't they break him? That's why they don't want to do it, because slavery, conversations about slavery lead to conversations about after slavery. And conversations about after slavery, now we touching your family. Now some of them grandparents that you love so much. Oh, grandma's hands, they were so great. Yeah, and the bitch went to a damn lynching. She got a toe bone from a black man that got hung in a tree. And then she took the toe bones and turned it into a cross. That's what that's why.
These are the things that I think that America, that they need to understand, and that's why the African American Museum in Washington is so important. It took me about 6 hours to go through that entire. Well, I don't think I even saw everything. I was there for a good 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And you start at the lower level where it's just heartbreaking. Then you get up to the fifth level where you're jamming with Aretha Franklin and
Oh yeah.
and Funkadelic and all this other stuff. It's like, we are so ingrained in this country, but a lot of people, and I'm gonna say white America, they don't understand or even know about black people. And one person
They
in
don't.
particular, if you ask them, about a book that they've read, they always bring up this one book that they read 40 years ago, but they've never read anything since in terms of black people. Yet they'll read everything else that feeds into the narrative of like MAGA and what have you. But that's why I've always said, when I look at stuff, I look at the whole. I watch Fox News. I do, as much as it makes me want to throw up, but I want to hear what the other person has to say. I listen to BBC. I will read stuff from people that actually make me sick because I want to know what is going on. And if you're only listening to one particular thing and only one particular thing in your head, I'm sorry, you're stupid.
They like us happy. They enjoy us dancing. They love us making food. They love Big Mama frying that chicken. They don't want to have a conversation about why Big Mama's here in the first place. Because do you understand? We break narratives. Black folks break narratives. You ain't never seen no black folks, and what you've heard about us, it's been just 10 types of wrong. We all want white women. We lusting after their blood. All of us is taking all the welfare. We're lazy. We just pop out cheering after cheering after children. And then they walk up on my black ass and they go, whoa, wait a minute. Why won't you do any of the stereotypes that mom and dad raised me with? Dance, Negro. And I look at them and go, I ain't dancing for shit. A, ain't got no rhythm, and B, the hell I look like a trained monkey? Get out of my face. They don't like that. That's why people like Terrence Williams, like I want to catch Terrence Williams and give him a short clothesline like Steven Seagal. Because he plays the role. Look at us, we all in the White House. Bitch, act like you've been there before. Obviously, your mom and daddy didn't teach you. Act like you've been there before. If I walk in the White House today, there's not a man in there that I'm going to be in fear of. None. Not a single one. I'm going to give them firm handshakes. I'm looking them in the damn face. I'm going to speak my shit. And if you don't like it, because
okay, I'm
Go ahead.
going to play a video, and I would like you guys to let me know what you think. So you all know how I am with my videos.
I don't know what it's going to take for the American people, for 78 million Americans, to deal with what motivated them to make the choice to elect this man again, to make the choice that will allow these people to undermine every fundamental assumption we have, that you can just be disappeared, and then they can argue that, a court is getting in the way of their ability to exercise, foreign policy in some ways, right? I don't know what it's going to take for 78 million Americans to deal with what motivated them to make this choice. And the choice that they've made, we have to just be honest, is to literally throw the Republic into the trash bin. And this is just one example. The tariffs is another, right? They made the choice. Now, what was behind it? We have to grapple with it, because it's the snake, it's the beast coiled up in the heart, the bosom of the country, as Frederick Douglass said. And the fact that they are doubling down on this shows you what kind of human beings they actually are.
Say more.
We chose a felon who is more interested in loyalty, who's more interested in retribution, who's more interested in grift than in democracy. And we chose a felon because we didn't want to elect a black woman. So to read that, to actually explicate that, is to say we would rather destroy the Republic than for that to have happened. And until we grapple with it, there's no amount of protesting I could do. There's no amount of resistance that could come into play to actually force 78 million people to grapple with what motivated them to put themselves in this position.
I mean, Eddie Glade Jr. is always, he is my favorite human being. He is, because Eddie Glade doesn't sugarcoat it. And it's true. You got to think about it this way. America looked at the choices that were given. You know what I mean? As America looked at the choices that they were given, and they had a chance to turn a corner. I'm not saying that Kamala Harris was this revolutionary candidate. She was a middle of the road centrist Democrat. Okay, I expected out of her the same thing I expected out of Obama, the same shit, right? But America looked at it looked at these choices, saw that one was literally the worst choice possible for America, for America's future, for the stability we swear we have, for the forward progress we swear we want to make. And they said, give me some more of that. The largest demographic, the largest voting demographic were people who didn't vote. We had the, well, both sides are the same. No, they're not. They're not. That put Donald Trump puts paid to that idea that both sides are the same. He puts paid to it. It should never become an argument.
So I blame Trump for a lot of things, but I blame the people who voted for him more than anyone.
I mean,
they carry the majority of that blame. And
yes,
I want, and this is going to sound really, 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 really bad, but I want this country to fail under Trump. I want it to be brought to its knees because I think that's what is needed. I think the fact that now he's up to 148% tariff on China, and China is just looking at us like, okay, well, you want to do that? Well, now we're going to slap another, 80% on you, where 75% of our goods come from China.
Mm-hmm.
So people who are buying these iPhones and all this other stuff, y'all better go to the store now while they're still at the price that they are now, because when they start shipping this stuff in, Apple's not even going to be able to afford to bring this stuff in because people are not going to be able to afford to buy the phone. The people are not going to be able to afford, you all thought it was bad during COVID when your car broke down and they didn't have that part and you had to wait 5, 6, 7 weeks for a part. They're going to have the part. It's just going to be sitting somewhere because you're not going to be able to afford something that costs you before, possibly for an oil change to change something. $20 is not going to cost you five times as much.
Mm-hmm. Because, and here's the thing about it. When I say we practice atrocities and amnesia, one of the biggest examples of that is the Civil War. Rather than treating the Confederate States of America like the traitors that they were, we allowed them to get back into society. You don't think it's going to be the same when Trump dies or is out of office? These people are going to go right back to, why can't we find common ground? And how come we can't bridge the political divide? Bitch, you
don't find common ground by trying to erase someone from history.
But they are going to try, because think about it. If another Democrat gets into the White House and reverses all of this shit, people are going to want to act like it never happened. That's where the mistakes are going to come. That's where the mistakes are going to come. The reason Eddie Glade Jr. said 78 million Americans reckoning with what they did, and why I'm saying it will never happen, is because we practice atrocities and amnesia.
But will it not happen because it's not affecting them? Meaning when it starts to affect their Medicaid, their Medicare,
they don't care.
They were able to go to the dentist and get another tooth, and now they're going to be still walking around with no teeth.
They will not care. They won't care, because again, it's the LBJ quote in real time. Donald Trump's whole existence as a presidential candidate is the LBJ quote in real time. You can see it happen. These people have been waiting to think less than their neighbors. We have ICE raids where they are snatching people off the streets. They're snatching children with leukemia out of the hospitals and they're deporting them. They're snatching people off the street and deporting them. You can't even protest, which is something the First Amendment covers. The First Amendment covers free speech.
But I want to ask you, these people they're snatching off the streets, do you feel sorry for them if their parents, the kids are getting snatched off the street, but their parents were voting for Trump, or they have a household with Trump, whatever? It's like, I don't care if your kid's getting snatched. I don't care.
That's the thing. The reason it is imperative that black folks sit their ass down and do nothing over the next 4 years is because it's proving a point. You for far too long, and I say marginalized communities as a whole, but I'm gonna talk about black folks in particular. Okay, those old black and white photos that people keep bringing up, there's real blood on those.
Mm-hmm.
There were real heads cracked open. There were real German shepherds sicked on black folks. There were water hoses poured on them. The police brought batons. John Lewis bled on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Right? So the examples of the bullshit is there. Oh, well, it was so long ago. No, bitch, it wasn't. Martin Luther King died in 68. I was born in 71. So it wasn't that goddamn long ago. Okay? Wasn't that damn long ago. They have the examples of what resistance truly looks like. And yet, for some reason, and this is why I say this is a white problem, is this. They got to learn. They have to learn. It is imperative that we do not teach them anymore. Because how many more times can you pull somebody from the brink of bullshit only to watch their ass walk back over there? Racism is in the bones of this country.
It is.
And racism, I'm sorry, a whole lot of white folks might feel bad about this. This is a whole invention and has been perpetuated and propped up by white people. The reason they want to get rid of slavery, or the reason Donald Trump wants to get rid of slavery, to get rid of the national shame, it ain't ours. That's not our shame. That's white folk. That is white folks' shame. And if you're feeling bad, if you are a white person feeling bad, what you want, and I won't say all, but I will say the majority, what they want is for us to ignore it. They want us to find a few times that interactions amongst human beings worked well. Oh, wow, look, I got a black friend and this is my white friend and da-da-da-da. That works well in your head, but your black friend has to go to a life you don't understand. Your black friend has to go to a place in American society that you will never understand. This is a long time coming. I don't have to want America to fail. America already has. America is still out here trying to pretend like it is the best thing on earth, and it ain't. The tariffs are showing us this. The fact that we got South Korea, Japan, and China, 3 longtime enemies that are in a partnership. They're growing up. They're saying, you know what? We can't depend on these people anymore. So now we got to look out for our own. This is what black folks need to do for the next 4 goddamn years. Let white America figure this shit out on their own. We shouldn't be teaching them anymore. What we gonna teach them?
Okay, so I was reading an article by some white people where they voted for Kamala Harris and they went to vacation in Paris, and how they had to, after they went out the first day, and I think the husband had on a New York Yankees hat or something, and the wife had on some other thing from America, whatever. And they only stayed out the very first day they were in Paris. They went out. They only stayed out probably for about 2 hours. They went back to their hotel room. They took off all their stuff, anything that had anything America on it. The wife, a Canadian had given her this Canadian pin. She put a Canadian pin on, and they went out, and they had an enjoyable time. She said, but they saw harassment of Americans in Paris, because how could we have voted for someone like Trump? And that's the way I think that we are perceived around the world.
Yes. Solid Blue, check this out. As a black woman, you can go anywhere in the world, because the moment you get off the plane, you can say you're American, but they're gonna know your ass didn't vote for this son bitch. We have the complexion for the protection worldwide. They know for a goddamn fact we wasn't voting for that bad.
Well,
they know this.
I don't know know, Thomas. Let me.
Now,
Okay, wait, hold on, because
go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm about to. What you just said, they know we didn't vote for him. Okay,
Yeah.
really?
Let me fix my bow tie. We at the White House. We back in here. We waiting on President Donald J. Trump. Yeah. I look so good in the red hat.
So are you sure they gonna know that we?
Yeah. You goddamn right they're gonna know that. Terrence Williams makes me want to break my vow of not using the N-word on a regular basis. He does. Every time I see him, I just want to pull that Tommy Davidson quote out. Who are these niggas? Who these niggas? He makes me want to say that out loud. Like in my house, I have to watch my mouth. But people know. People know. This is the benefit of never being one of those people that ever fell for this shit. A lot of black folks, I early on, I think it was like 2, maybe 3 years ago, I made a video where I said, please stop telling black folks that the Democratic Party is the inventors of the KKK and shit. Please stop doing that, because we already know. We know neither major political party give a shit about us. We know this. This is not a secret. Black folks been saying this for.
But yet those are the same people who keep saying that we're, for Republicans, who keep saying we're the party of Lincoln. No, you're not.
No.
You are the party of Trump.
Listen, if you want to go with the party of Lincoln quote, okay, let's go with it. Lincoln, who famously said, if I could preserve the Union by keeping slavery, I would. If I could preserve the Union by getting rid of slavery, I would. Meaning, I don't give a shit about slavery. I just want to preserve the Union. You really want to go there? Then let's go there. Again, America has never dealt with its own shit. The reason the rest of the world looks at us the way they do is because we are arrogant. It is part of the sloganeering of this place. You live in the greatest country on earth. Did you have to work for that title? No. Did you have to sacrifice something for that title? No. Did you even have to work really, really hard to let people know that title is earned? No. All you had to do is your mom and dad had sex in West Virginia. You was born in Virginia. You're in the greatest country on earth. When you have that level of arrogance without any sort of, it's the old adage: if you buy somebody a car, they don't appreciate it. They'll tear it up. They'll run it fast. They'll never get the oil change. They break it or whatever. But if you help a person earn buying a car, they take care of it. American democracy has never been taken care of in any meaningful way. And because if it was, we would have addressed this shit a while ago. We wouldn't need slavery museums. We wouldn't need museums. Like a perfect example, my wife and I went to Memphis, and we went to the Lorraine Motel, Martin Luther King museum. And it's just like you were saying, at the bottom floor is hell on earth. There at the beginning of 1860, right before the Civil War, there was 4 million slaves that were worth $3 billion at the time. They're worth $10 billion today. $10 trillion, excuse me. They were worth $3 billion in 1860. They were worth $10 trillion today. Okay, so when you go up, once you get to the room that Martin Luther King slept in, you are inundated. You are facing that pain and that suffering. The problem is, and mind you, there were people from all over the world at this museum. There were people from Belgium. There were people from Germany. There were people from Ireland. The white folk, white people going up, and they were looking at this. The problem is, even with all of that, even with the museum at Greenwood, even with the talk of Tuskegee and the experiments and the airmen, all of this, there are white people who feel uncomfortable because it doesn't center them. You can't center yourself in a conversation that big. The legacy of black people in this country is entirely too big to center yourself. You can't. Your feelings are meaningless compared to Harriet Tubman. Your feelings are meaningless compared to Solomon Northrop. Your feelings are meaningless. And that's just black people. White people have tried to center themselves in a conversation about Native and Indigenous people. And then when Native and Indigenous people say, okay, you want to talk about these Christian schools that took young Native children, cut their hair, and made them, what do they say? Kill the savage, preserve the man. And those schools have bodies and shit buried out back of
And they
young
also
indigenous children.
sexually assaulted a lot of those girls,
Yes, that
those
is you can.
Christians.
Yes, how are you going to center your little white feelings in that conversation? You can't. So when Nick Fuentes said white people are tired of talking about it, they're tired of listening to it, it's because there's no way to center yourself. Your feelings are meaningless. They are absolutely 100%
But
meaningless
see, but
in that
that's
conversation.
why they need to listen. This is
They
why
won't.
they need to listen, and I know they won't listen because I've had conversations with people who don't want to listen. They want to say, "Well, you don't want to, take some advice from." Why am I taking advice from somebody who made this what it is, and you sound absolutely ridiculous and don't know what you're talking about?
Think about this for a second. Imagine if, let's say, at the end of slavery, during the beginning of Reconstruction, we had treated the Confederates like traitors and executed them. Let's say we did. Let's say we did, right? What that is saying is we understand our history. These people went against this government and they are paying for their crimes. But they never did. They never did. At one point, and I think it was Johnson that signed an order that said that Confederate soldiers can be buried with full honors. You betray the United States and you get full military honors. And not only did they get full military honors, but they always put those ignorant ass statues up, and you see how people act when you want to take those statues down. Now that part of the history they love. They love that part, but they don't like the part that literally signifies why those statues would be important in the first place. The Union split over the treatment of and the continued enslavement of bodies, and nobody gave a shit about them. It was Frederick Douglass had to literally tell Abraham Lincoln, if you make this about slavery, you make it about slavery, you might actually get more support. Countries outside the United States, Great Britain and France, were getting ready to get involved in the Civil War because they wanted their cotton. But the moment Lincoln made it about the abolishment of slavery, they backed off because it's a noble gesture. But right after that, we started some Reconstruction. We're going to treat these people like citizens. There was Article 15, I think it was either Article 5 or Article 15 that Sherman put in, which said that 40 acres of a parcel of land, 40 acres, and a mule will be given to every former slave, and they were given to
the mule is not correct. It was just 40 acres.
Yeah, it was okay. So it's 40 acres, but it was on old plantation land.
Mm-hmm.
And then Johnson came in and stopped all of that, stopped all of it. So now we have plantations that are being used for wedding sites, and look at this little cottage.
Wait. I'm pretty sure you saw the TikTok where the woman made the bed and breakfast.
Yes, I stitched that video and I was like, it's slave quarters.
She had to literally turn off the comments because the comments were so bad. It's like, seriously, you're gonna say, and so looks so really?
Do you? That's the amnesia part.
And I wonder how many black people you welcome there. Yeah. Sure.
No, again, that's what I'm talking about. That's the amnesia part. You gonna turn a goddamn plantation with slave quarters into a bed and breakfast Are you got white folks going, I want a Gentili wedding. We're gonna have it at a goddamn plantation. Amnesia. Amnesia.
I know.
Amnesia.
I know.
And the problem is when we remind them of this, which is what black folks do, our entire existence is, hey, you might not want to have that Gentili wedding because people that look like me was owned in there. That's the part they want to stop.
Mhm.
That's the part they don't want to have those conversations anymore because it makes them uncomfortable. It makes them uncomfortable. So rather than dealing with that uncomfortableness, which is what we always have to do, when we have to hear about welfare queens, black women being hoes, we got to sit there. Okay, I'm uncomfortable. It sounds real stupid, but okay, I'll listen. Black men are violent. Okay, I got to sit here and listen to it. 50. What is it? 1350. 13% of the population commit 50% of the crime. Okay, I'll sit here and listen to this bullshit. We're good. They like that. They like that. Old scrotum face, love that shit. But the very moment the tables get turned, now it's a problem. Now it's a problem.
Okay, so I have two questions, and then I'm going to start wrapping it up. Who on the Democratic side runs in 2028? A viable person.
Gavin Newsom, and I don't like him.
Oh, you know what?
Gavin,
a lot of people don't like Gavin Newsom, but
no, I'm telling you, if Gavin Newsom runs, I'm not voting. This is Gavin Newsom's contribution to his cause for being the next empty suit white man in the White House. I'm going to start a podcast. Let me host Charlie Kirk, an avowed racist. Let me host Steve Bannon, an avowed racist. Then I'm going to go on Bill Maher with another Bill Maher's a piece of shit and go, this is why we can't find common ground. We can't talk to each other. I don't want to talk to these goddamn people.
But you know what?
But he's going to be sitting his stupid ass up at the top.
As someone that lives in California and has been affected by some of his policies, some of them I agree with, some of them that I don't. I have to give him a lot of credit for one main thing that Trump is trying to undo when he returned Bruce Beach back to the family of where Bruce Beach was stolen. Hold on, because that property is worth billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't see, white folks don't want black folks to have anything, and that was an uproar.
That was a carrot, because the stick is Gavin Newsom, for all of his, sun-soaked, wind-blown good looks, is an empty goddamn suit.
He is. But you know what? But they all are. I mean, Biden was a good president, so to speak, but he also made his little racist comments, whatever. They all are. They all are. So I have to say, would you want a Gavin Newsom or would you want a Greg Abbott? Would you want a Gavin Newsom or would you want a Trump? Would you want a Gavin Newsom or would you want a Marco?
Here's one.
Whatever.
One.
So and to say that you're not going to vote, I mean,
here's one. Here's one nobody's bringing up. Tim Walz. There's Governor Tim Walz.
Hold on. Now you brought up Newsom. I was actually going to say Walz because I was really looking forward to him being vice president. I really was.
He would make one hell of a damn president.
I think Tim Walz is going to put his hat in the ring. I don't think Kamala is going to run again because I do believe she's going to run for governor of California, and I do believe that she is going to win. But I do believe that Tim Walz is going to run, and I do believe that he has a good. I think he has a good chance.
If Tim Walz
over Newsom, I think that Tim Walz would, and I would definitely vote for Tim Walz over Newsom. But I do believe that Newsom, living in the state of California, and some of the challenges that we've had from Republicans in the state, Newsom has been a good governor.
Newsom Newsom is making all the wrong moves right now. So when he drops his hat in the ring about 2027, he's going to have to make inroads. And I'm telling you right now, I'll be waiting.
Well,
I'm going to rip his head
again,
off. I am not
think
playing.
that
I will be waiting
I
for
think
him.
I think that Tim Walz is going to run, and I think that he will have I think he will have a very good chance. And if
I
he did
think
run, and if he did win the nomination, it would be interesting to see who he chose as his running mate.
if he was going to choose a running mate, if Tim Walz was just going to pick somebody today, right now, to be his running mate, I would say Richard Ojeda. Major Richard Ojeda, who is running for the North Carolina State Senate seat. Richard Ojeda is not just a fighter. He's not just a badass. He's a sapper, former engineer. He's a former major in the United States Army. And he speaks. Everybody loves them some Bernie. Oh, we need more Bernie. How come we can't have some Bernie? Bernie this year will be the same age my mother was when she passed away. Okay. So Bernie at 84, yeah, great, fantastic. He's still cool, but no. If you put Tim Walz and Richard Ojeda on the ticket, you have everything Bernie's talking about and more.
Okay. Can I ask you, were you a Bernie supporter in 16?
Was I a Bernie supporter in 16?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay.
No.
The
reason I wasn't.
To me, Bernie he doesn't talk about anything.
No, the reason I wasn't a Bernie supporter in 16 is quite simple. Ain't nobody gonna elect no damn socialist in this country. America don't even know. There are people who have less teeth in their mouth than there are days in a week that don't know the difference between communism, socialism, and capitalism. They ain't gonna elect him. I love Bernie. Don't get me wrong. Bernie's ideas are fantastic, but we are talking about dumb America. These people don't know nothing about nothing. They don't know shit. If you ask them right now, give me a socialist policy, they would say the government runs everything and we can't have nothing. No, bitch, that's communism. Give me a socialist policy. And if you say something like, if you give them individually universal health care, that sounds like a good idea. I like that idea. Universal pre-K. Oh, I like that idea. Livable wage, not just a minimum wage, a livable wage. Man, I love that. That sounds fantastic. That's great. Then if you tell them, oh, those are socialist policies, I don't like no socialism. I'm too stupid. I got summer teeth. Some are here, some are still on layaway. Some are in my pocket, and some are in the back seat of my truck. Like, they don't know. Like, as great as Bernie is, America wasn't gonna elect no damn socialist. I didn't like Hillary Clinton. I damn sure didn't like
Bernie is not that great.
But if you put Tim Walz and Richard Ojeda, now they give you the white man contingent. They give you the white man contingent.
See, I think that Tim Walz would choose a woman.
Of course he is. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm pretty sure he will.
I mean, and what I'm saying, but I think he would choose a really qualified woman.
He'd probably end up picking AOC, which, okay, we can live with that. But will America vote for that? No.
So that's why he's not going to pick
now. That's why. Hold on. That's exactly why I said, if you put Tim Walz and Richard Ojeda together, number one, there's all that white manness that everybody loves. Oh my God, we got to have white man in the White House. We had one Negro. I ain't like it. I felt uncomfortable. Oh my goodness. I want a white man. So you got two white men, right? The Bernie bros are happy because you have two damn near socialist ass white men running for the top offices in the United States. So there goes the Bernie bros. They should be, waltzing in with Walz right there, right? You got all that, both of them. Tim Walz is a retired master sergeant in the United States Army Reserves. Richard Ojeda is a retired major in the Army. There you go. There goes that support the troops shit, right? You know what I mean? You mean? Everybody loves my firebrand nature. Richard Ojeda has my firebrand nature. So let's say J.D. Vance runs for president and he picks, I don't know, Stephen Miller or whatever. to run as his vice president. Richard Ojeda will eat his ass alive. Anybody that,
Okay, first of
anybody
all,
that, yeah,
JD Vance is not going. I mean, he can run. He can
He's gonna
run,
run.
but
He's gonna run.
he can run, but he will end up dropping out.
Oh no, he's gonna win. I'm telling you, JD Vance is gonna tap into that MAGA. The problem is,
Okay, you're saying he'll win the nomination.
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. The White House? Hell no. Hell no. No, he will not. And especially if Donald Trump endorses him. It is ass over tea kettles at that point. That man, listen, Donald Trump's endorsement is going to be the kiss of absolute death. Whoever it is that
But
tries
he's
to
not.
seek it.
But Trump is already pushing Junior to run. So
A cokehead?
okay,
A person? A cokehead.
But if it'll keep the Trump name in the White House, and they can have this family monopoly of a country, he will.
I tell you what.
He will.
I will start a super PAC. I will start a super PAC called Ass King. I am so serious. I will be asking questions like, how did Don Jr. get drugs into Greenland when you're not allowed to have drugs in Greenland? Probably in his ass. He took cocaine in his booty hole and snorted Ass King. I will start a super PAC called Ass King Inc.
I am just saying, but
Junior, there's no way in hell he would get his head kicked in. He would get his head kicked in. He'd be better off getting Eric. I'm just saying.
Okay. I want to wrap this up, and I want to play this because I love this. I love this TikTok, y'all. So here you go.
Down inside you, I'm so into you. I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I care for you, care for you. Hold on tight, girl, you've got me. Even if it's wrong or right, the world can't stop me. I'm so into you.
I love that.
Okay, so I just had to end this show with strong Black women.
Listen,
You
black
know.
excellence, bitches.
And
Our melanin's popping 24/7, baby. Like we don't never close. I wake up shiny and beautiful.
I just want Trump to know that, you know, you can try to erase us. You can try to I'm looking at this thing that Leslie and Edo have going on. You can try to erase us, but you can't. You can't. And he's not going to succeed in removing stuff and taking stuff down from the.
No, it literally they will let him have his little petulant white man temper tantrum for 4 years,
Mhm.
and then the next president is gonna come in and quietly put all this shit back. Ooh, look, it's shiny. You can go back to the museum with the slaves. Ooh, is that the Tuskegee Airmen at the Air Force? We can have it back, because they're gonna ignore the fact that 4 years ago they let a petulant bitch ass grown 6'4", 215 grown man have a temper tantrum. Oh my God, black excellence when? They'll forget and they'll put it right back up, and then they'll come in and hug, and somebody will probably break out Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney's Ebony Ivory, and I'm gonna cuss somebody the hell out. Like, man, if you don't get the hell on with that bullshit, I'll smack the shit out of you. Like, go over there with that. Go over there. What I want black folks to do is never forget. Never forget. What you are seeing in Trump is the physical manifestation of all the racist bullshit, the gaslighting, the just outright nastiness that's at the heart of this country. And when his ass is gone, or that widowmaker heart attack finally catches that ass, and he goes shuffled off to whatever room he's going to, upper or lower, I don't know. When that happens, people are going to want to try to pretend like everything is normal, and it ain't. Do not ever forget this time in history. If you are a black person, with self-awareness, if you are a white person with self-awareness, don't you ever forget this time. And make sure all of the family members is going to be coming back around. I know we stopped talking because of Trump, but we a family. Don't you ever let them forget. Don't you ever let them forget.
I don't do that. We family now and stuff anyway.
Listen,
so yeah.
Terrence Williams is still, in 8 years, I'll be 8 years older than I am right now. He can still get this work. Bow tie and all. I can still clothesline his head off his damn shoulders. You don't get a chance to come dancing your biscuit and pancake making ass back up in here, bro. Nah. Remember that tap dancing shit you did at the White House? It's on site, partner. It's on site. Every time I see you, I'm smack shit at you. It's just open hand, open palm slap every time I see your ass. There you go. There you go.
And on that note, y'all, Thomas the villain got the last word. Peace.
Sound of Coffee, Monday morning.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, y'all.